The quiet of a mountain cabin can hide a multitude of sins, and I learned that the hard way when I moved to my late grandmother's retreat in North Carolina. I'm Ethan Carter, a 34-year-old software engineer, fresh off a tech industry layoff and looking for a fresh start. Inheriting Grandma Clara's cabin seemed like a God-sended 2-acre haven in a gated community dripping with upper-middle-class pretension. But any hope of peace was shattered by Patricia "Patty" Sullivan, the 52-year-old HOA president who turned my new life into a nightmare with her relentless spying and petty power plays. It began subtly, on a foggy October morning as I sipped coffee on my porch. A glint of metal caught my eye from Patty's house across the street. Through the mist, I spotted her at an upstairs window, binoculars trained on me like I was her personal project. I waved, half mocking, and she ducked behind her curtains. "Nosy neighbors," I muttered, brushing it off. But by Thursday, a violation notice landed in my mailbox, written in Patty's meticulous script. My lawn, it claimed, harbored dandelions exceeding the HOA's 2-inch limit, per section 4.7.3. I scoured my yard with a ruler, finding 3 offending weeds. The effort it took to spot them was almost impressive in its absurdity. The notices piled up like clockwork. Friday's letter nitpicked the non-compliant sage green trim on my cabin painted by Grandma Clara 2 decades ago. Saturday cited suspicious noises at 7:47 p.m., which I traced to chopping onions for dinner. Patty was documenting my life with the precision of a stalker. Things turned sinister on Sunday when I found a tiny camera hidden in my mailbox, perfectly angled to record my every move. I left it there, deciding to play her game while building my own defense. If she wanted a war, I'd be ready. By Monday, I flipped the script, using my old telephoto lens to watch Patty's house. What I saw was chilling. Charts and sketches of my routine sprawled across her dining room table, complete with timestamps. This wasn't just meddling, it was a calculated obsession. Tuesday's violation notice pushed the boundaries of sanity, accusing me of aromatic disturbances for cooking a grilled cheese sandwich, violating some vague rule about olfactory harmony. I laughed, but the humor faded as I realized Patty wasn't just enforcing rules, she wanted me out. Why was she so fixated on my cabin? That night, I pored over Grandma Clara's photo albums, searching for clues. One image stopped me cold. Clara laughing with another woman in the cabin's kitchen, dated 1985. The back read, "Clara and me, sisters forever." The woman was Margaret Sullivan, Patty's mother-in-law. Sisters. The word hit like a thunderbolt. My grandmother and Margaret were siblings, making this feud far more personal than HOA nonsense. Clara's diary painted a darker picture, detailing her care for Margaret in her final months. Margaret feared the strange medicines Patty gave her, and Clara's last entry, a week before Margaret's death, was gut-wrenching. She says Patty's poisoning her, but no one listens. My sister needs me, and I'm terrified it's too late. Another violation notice arrived Wednesday, this time about unauthorized wildlife, because I'd fed squirrels at my bird feeder. I was ready, having installed a hidden camera in my porch eaves. Patty upped the ante with a legal letter from her attorney, Richard Holt, challenging my cabin's ownership over title irregularities. But I was already unraveling her secrets. Clara's records showed the cabin was inherited from her parents, alongside land sold for the gated community. The Sullivans had tried to buy it for decades, offering double its value 5 years ago. Clara had scrawled, "Never to the Sullivans," on the offer. A call to the county clerk revealed the Sullivans' relentless bids. Then I met Linda Hayes, a retired nurse, at a cafe in Asheville, far from Patty's reach. Linda shared Margaret's blood work, showing arsenic levels 10 times normal, evidence of chronic poisoning. She'd saved a vial of Patty's digestive supplement, which a lab later confirmed contained arsenic, with Patty's fingerprints on it. Linda recalled Margaret's terror, whispering that Patty threatened to institutionalize her if she refused the pills. Margaret had begged for Clara's help, her only ally. I hired private investigator Jack Ramsey, who uncovered a staggering motive. Margaret's $3 million estate, including mineral rights for a planned resort, went to her son, David Sullivan, Patty's husband, after a suspiciously timed new will. David died 6 months later, showing identical arsenic poisoning. Patty inherited an $8 million fortune. Ramsey traced her purchases of industrial-grade arsenic, shipped near my cabin. She'd used my grandmother's sanctuary as a hub for her murder weapons. Then came Henry Walsh, a retired forest ranger who saw Patty sneak into my cabin the night Margaret died. He'd recorded her plotting with David to finish the Margaret problem and handle Clara if she got suspicious. Clara's hidden basement camera provided the final nail, footage of Patty entering the cabin at 11:47 p.m. on October 15th, carrying containers, then visiting Margaret's house at 12:52 a.m. with a drink container. The audio captured Patty and David planning Margaret's murder, with Patty admitting to bribing Dr. Susan Grant and lawyer Richard Holt. Shockingly, David was her accomplice, but his guilt made him a liability. Patty's chilling response, "I'll handle everything," sealed his fate. Patty's scheme wasn't just about money. It was a $50 million resort project needing my cabin's land. She knew about the camera system, having helped Clara install it years ago, and feared I'd find the footage. Every violation notice was a desperate bid to drive me away. I invited Patty to the cabin, claiming I wanted to resolve the dispute. As she sat, smug and composed, I played the recording. Her face went ashen. She denied it all, then erupted, ranting about David's weak conscience and admitting she'd killed him to secure the fortune. In a desperate move, she pulled out pills and a suicide note accusing me of harassment. But Henry and Linda burst in, stopping her staged suicide. Patty's arrest exposed a web of corruption. The FBI uncovered her money laundering scheme, involving offshore companies and bribed officials. She faced 17 charges, including 3 murders, while Dr. Grant and Holt faced their own fallout. The community, freed from Patty's reign, elected me HOA president. I scrapped her ridiculous rules and created the Margaret Sullivan Memorial Fund to protect elderly residents. The cabin became a tribute to Clara and Margaret, its basement a resource center for elder abuse prevention. Patty, once untouchable, now faces life in prison, her empire of greed and murder in ruins. Justice, long delayed, proved that no one can outrun the truth when someone stands their ground.